I wasn't fired, but I no longer belonged to that company. That year, I went to the company every day, but I knew I was already nothing. Some jobs don't make you better, they slowly make you irrelevant. Hello everyone, I'm John, an ordinary working man living and working in China. I started working at 18 and now it's been 22 years. In these 22 years, I've met many people and gone through many things. But there is one experience that I still remember very clearly, and it's also the one that made me feel the most powerless. Let's go back 10 years, 2016. That year was my peak job. I joined that company in 2010 and stayed until mid 2017. My first two jobs were in technical and management role, and later I moved into sales. In this fifth job, at the beginning, I was also doing sales. But at the end of 2015, the boss planned to start a new business unit. This project happened to match my previous experience. There were two bosses in the company. That day, they asked me, "Are you willing to take charge of this project?" Honestly, I didn't really want to, but I knew very clearly this wasn't something I could refuse. They didn't force me, but I knew they had already made the decision. After all those years, I understood them very well. So in the end, I agreed. The boss asked me to hand over all my clients to a sales assistant. From that moment on, I was no longer part of the sales department. This project was divided into two parts from the beginning. One was in the main factory and the other was in another city. At the beginning, I was responsible for the main factory side. From equipment to processes, almost everything was built step by me. Later, I was transferred to the other city to replace that colleague. But after I got there, I realized the equipment there had only been installed, but it couldn't run properly at all. There were many problems. During that time, I was adjusting machines, running trials and tuning parameters, and also recruiting and training people. That place felt more like a small factory built from zero. A lot of things I had to carry on my own. During that time, I was busy every day, from morning to night, sometimes even until midnight. That was normal. The first thing that made me uncomfortable was not the workload, it was the food. The food was bad. In the industrial park cafeteria, a meal cost 5 RMB, but the food there had almost no oil. I ate a lot every meal, but not long after, I would feel hungry again. With such exhausting work, the company didn't improve the food at all. They only made sure we could eat enough. No one cared whether I ate well or how tired I was. Many times I had to spend my own money just to get something better to eat. During that time, I was really exhausted and always hungry. Because of all this work, I lost a lot of weight. One day, I went back to the main company That night, I went out for a late night meal with colleagues. Unexpectedly, the boss also came with some other colleagues. They sat at the table next to us. One colleague said he's lost a lot of weight. I thought the boss would say something, but he didn't. He just calmly said someone else lost weight too. At that moment, I felt really disappointed. All my effort and hard work felt like it meant nothing. I spent about half a year on this project. The equipment was set up, the parameters were ready, and the SOP documents were completed. Everything started running normally. At that moment, I thought I could finally relax a little.
什么粉？米粉和粉。
弄一个这个，
汤的是拌的。
拌的，
拌的哈。
对。
麻辣味、香辣味。
香辣吧，不要。
加蛋还是加肉？
加蛋。
加蛋5块，加蛋6.5块。肉可以加2块、3块钱。
But not long after, the boss called me. He told me to return to the main company and let someone else take over this project. He also said the position here would be rotated every 3 months. At the same time, he asked me to train that person. At that moment, I understood he didn't trust me and he didn't trust anyone. In all my years of working, this was the first time I had faced something like this. I had put all my experience and knowledge into this project, but in the end, what I got was a lack of trust. At that moment, I realized maybe I was too naive. After I returned to the main factory, I continued working on my previous project. The boss also said something to me. If this project goes well, we can let you take full responsibility in the future. You can run it yourself and make your own profit. But I knew very clearly, since he wanted rotation, that kind of promise would never be fulfilled. One day, near the end of the year, the boss called me into the office. That day, 4 bosses were there. One of them gave me over 20,000 RMB in cash on the spot. Because I had moved from sales to the project department, I had handed over my client and my commissions were no longer counted. So this money was considered compensation for me. The other boss looked at me and asked, "Are you satisfied?" I didn't think too much and I said directly, "No." At that moment, his face immediately darkened. He said, "Out of everyone, you are the only one who said no." But I knew very clearly the clients I had worked so hard to build were handed over just like that. How could I be satisfied? All that effort, all that work felt like it had all been ignored. This was also the first time in my 7 years at that company that there was a clear crack between me and the bosses. A few days later, I sent an email to both bosses. I mentioned one client. This client was brought in by the boss through his connection, and I was responsible for the follow-up work and maintenance. There were several clients like this. We had set a rule before. If this client reached a certain sales amount, commission would be calculated. For this client, the 2015 annual target was 3 million RMB, but I achieved over 4 million. According to the rules, this commission should have belonged to me, but they didn't give it to me. So I wrote this clearly in the email. They admitted that this agreement did exist, but then they said there was also a supplementary rule. If target weren't met, deduction would be made. I denied it immediately. They then called in another colleague to confirm what he said was exactly the same as mine. After he left, the boss asked me again, "Do you still want it calculated?" At that moment, I looked at their attitude and I also thought about the fact that I still wanted to stay. In the end, I said one sentence: "Forget it." I thought that was the end of it, but I didn't expect what happened next would completely sideline me. They assigned me to a position visual inspection. It sounded good. They said it was for improvement, but in reality, visual inspection was just looking with your eyes. Other than making small improvement to tools, there was almost nothing to do. Just like that, 1 day, 2 days, months passed. No one came to me and no one asked me anything. I was like a kite with a broken string, left in a corner, drifting slowly. During that time, I felt terrible because when a person has nothing to do every day, it's actually very painful. Twice, I went to the boss myself and told him I have nothing to do, but nothing changed. In the end, I couldn't keep waiting anymore. I didn't want to waste my time, so I chose to leave. On the day I left, when I walked out of the workshop, I ran into the boss. He said he wanted to treat me to a meal, but something came up. He arranged for another colleague to have dinner with me instead. I refused. Just like that, I ended my 7 years at that company. That experience I will never forget. It taught me one thing: you can be needed but not respected. And at that moment, I truly left. What's ironic is, half a year after I left, one of the bosses called me and asked me to go back. Even 6 years later, the other boss also called me. Based on what I know about them, the reason they wanted me back was probably because I was more suitable for the department I built myself. But for me, some places, once you leave, you can never go back. Thank you for watching. If you like real stories like this, feel free to subscribe. See you next time.